Welcome to tutorial 2. We're going to look at writing questions for the mini survey for ILT 3. Before we begin writing, there are some questions to consider. Number 1, what is the goal of the survey? Well, you've been asked to investigate effective strategies for independent learning and to focus on a specific language skill. So when you design your question, you need to make sure that it focuses on the skill that you are investigating and helps to produce results that tell you about the strategies that are useful for independent learning. The next question is, what information do I want to find out? Well, you want to learn about the study habits and learning styles of UEC 20 students. And you also want to see if they have any effective strategies for self-directed study. What do I want to do with the results? Well, you need to analyze the results and display the results in a graph or a chart. So when designing questions, you need to make sure that these answers are going to provide results that will be easy to analyze and display. Who am I surveying? Well, of course, we're surveying UEC 20 students, so make your questions relevant and specific to these students. Let's look at an example question. How many hours do you normally spend studying English outside of class? It's a good idea to check and evaluate your questions to ensure you have the best survey results. So we can ask a few questions. First, does the question refer to independent study? Yes. Does it refer to a specific skill? In this case, it doesn't. It refers to English, which is just the general subject. Remember, we're focusing on a specific skill, such as listening, reading, writing, or vocabulary. So we can rewrite this question to make it more specific. And notice that we've referred to the specific skill in the question. What about the relevance? Is this question relevant for a UEC 20 student? Well, of course it is. And finally, are the results from this question easy to analyze? Well, again, like the previous slide, we saw that when we have a question like this, there's an infinite number of answers. So in order to make our results easier to analyze, we can change this question into a multiple choice question and provide answer choices such as this. In this way, we have a specific answer and we have a specific time period by referring to per week. So when you're designing a question, it's good to think about whether it should be close-ended or open-ended. So again, let's have a look at another example. Where do you find articles in English to improve reading skills? For this question, we could have an infinite number of answers. So this is considered an open-ended question, and these are usually difficult to analyze and convert into a graph or chart. So in order to produce a graph, it's better to go for a close-ended question. And we can do this simply by taking the same question and changing it into a multiple choice question. This makes it a close-ended question, and these are far easier to analyze as they can convert the results into percentages. Once we have percentages, we can produce a graph like this, which is perfect for our group presentation in week 5. As I mentioned before, in tutorial 3, we're going to look at SurveyMonkey, which is an online platform to create surveys. In this tool, you're able to select from a range of different question types. We'll be looking at multiple choice. And according to SurveyMonkey, multiple choice is one of the most common question types in a survey. So we want to make sure that our questions are strong. Let's have a look at a multiple choice question. This is actually a weak multiple choice example. How can we make this stronger? Well, let's have a look at this one. What makes this a stronger question? Have a look. Well, in the first question, you can see that the question simply asks, how can you improve your listening in English? When we look at the answers, all of these could improve our English. So it's not so clear for the respondent to choose an answer. In the second question, we ask, what is the most effective way? This is a more specific question which allows the respondent to clearly make a choice. Another reason why this question is stronger is the option in answer response 6. It allows the respondent to give an answer that maybe you haven't thought about. So when making a multiple choice question, ensure that it's specific and allow for all answers, even the ones that you haven't considered. So just to finish off, we're going to look at the two different types of multiple choice questions. And I'd like you to think about which type generates more data for analysis: yes/no questions or WH questions. In the yes/no question, you might use this at the beginning or end of your survey as they're very simple to answer. And they can produce data that shows us a comparison between the different proportions. However, with the WH questions, we have far more data which allows for better comparison. So when creating your question, I would recommend that if you are going to use a yes/no question, that you only use a maximum of 1 or 2 in this survey. So that brings us to the end of this tutorial. It's now time to take the quiz.